Google Peskies Pest Control Montgomery. No bug will survive. Call 334-595-9055.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Peskies Pest Control Podcast right here in Montgomery, Alabama with your hosts, Travis and Michael. We do this podcast as a community service for the river region. This includes Montgomery, Prattville, Millbrook, Wetumpka, Pike Road, Auburn, and any other surrounding areas for people just like you.
Hey, so today on the podcast, we want to talk about something we've been seeing a lot of, and that is just creepy crawlies in the attic. Anywhere from Asian lady beetles, stink bugs, pretty much your two generic that we're getting a lot of calls on. And I think the best thing to talk about with this problem is just that, you know, the homeowners always, can we seal up the attic? Can we seal up the attic? No, you cannot seal up the attic. The attic has to live and breathe. You know, as your house is getting hot, getting cold, it's venting. So there's really no way to completely seal up an attic so those bugs are still going to be able to get into your attic. So Travis, let's talk about some treatment plans.
Well, unfortunately, like you said, we're getting those calls and 'tis the season. I had a very long conversation with someone about 2 or 3 days ago in reference to the Asian lady beetles specifically, but you can kind of bundle the stink bugs into that same conversation because they're both seeking the exact same thing. So they're both seeking out a place to overwinter. They're seeking out a place to just basically make home until it's time to go and get back out, you know, in the springtime and whatnot. So, but yes, you're exactly right. Houses need to breathe. And I'll take that even one step further. Even if you have spray foam insulation in your attic, these insects will find a way to get in. I don't care how good of a spray foam job that you have had. If you go up into your attic, you know, in the late or early fall and going on into winter, you're going to find some form of either stink bug or Asian lady beetle. There's no way to either A, completely seal up your attic, and like you said, nor should you really necessarily want to, because that air exchange has to happen, or else you're going to end up with more problems than just insects. You're going to end up with moisture problems and everything up in that attic spaces, which you definitely don't want.
100%. And another thing I'll say too, we're getting a lot of calls, is ladybugs in the attic. They're not ladybugs, they're Asian lady beetles. Super aggressive. They bite. Ladybugs are just cute little, you know, red bugs with dots on them. They don't.
Well, and I'll say this too, while we're on the topic of that, ladybugs are beneficial.
Yes.
Asian lady beetles are not.
They don't. They serve no purpose
other than being a nuisance. But the unfortunate thing is that if you're seeing them in your house, if you're seeing them in your attic, surprise, they're already there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, it's funny. I saw a video the other day of somebody letting an Asian lady beetle crawl on their finger and it bit them.
Well, you know, people can actually be allergic to their bites. I do have a customer that is allergic to their bites, and so, you know, they definitely are more concerned about the Asian lady beetles than, you know, the average homeowner, and rightfully so. But like I said, they're so small and adapted to getting into these little tight places, and they want to go live in your wall voids and in your attic. And if you start seeing them in your house, they're already there. The thing that I recommend most to my customers is being proactive, especially in that late summer going towards fall, to try to be proactive in treatment and what little bit exclusion that you can do around doors and windows and cracks and crevices that don't involve completely just sealing out something that needs to ventilate. But being proactive in treatment and exclusion early on to try to keep them from getting in the first place.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I know my house, you know, was built in the 70s, and we had the old style windows a couple of years ago, and every time in this time of year, we just got stink bugs galore, and we got new windows put in, and that, you know, it was cut down to, I mean, almost none coming through the windows. Now we still get some in the attic, and we still have to treat, but that just the door seals, something as simple as just replacing your door seals if your door seals are wore out, or your windows or anything like that, is going to help tremendously.
Yeah, and we do have some other options too in terms of treatment and products. I did have another customer that actually swapped over from a larger company to us under the I guess under the agreement that I would be able to take care of his stink bugs. And that was a big thing for him. That was really the only problem that they were having was stink bugs consistently being an issue. And I went and inspected, located the fact that they were coming in through around the eaves of the house and getting up into the attic and then coming down into the living space in the attic. So we were able to treat that attic with a dust, and they were pleasantly surprised because they didn't have any more stink bug issues after that.
Oh yeah, it's huge. And I mean, us standing behind our work, that's just what we do. But yeah, I love how you brought that in. So, I mean, when you're getting in the attic, you have to, the dust is going to be the best way because you're going to be able to get all those cracks, crevices, those voids where those bugs are going to try to enter. And that dust is going to linger. Another great thing about the dust is that there's no sunlight in the attic. So it's not going to break down. It's going to stay there. Most of the time when we do a treatment in an attic like that for stink bugs or Asian lady beetles, or ladybugs, they don't have a problem the next year until that product starts to break down, which takes a very, very long time in the attic or a wall void or anything like that.
Yeah, that product is definitely there for the long haul, and definitely, like you said, undisturbed by sunlight, undisturbed by large amounts of moisture. It will be there, and it will be effective there for quite a while.
Yeah, and another deciding factor that I've kind of found just from homes with these issues is it's always light colored homes, white, light gray. So I just recommend everybody paint their house black, and they probably wouldn't have this issue.
Well, maybe so, maybe not. I do know that, especially stink bugs too. You know, if you go out on a warmer day, on the side of the house that's facing the sun, that you get a decent amount of sunlight, you may even catch some of these insects sunbathing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a higher likelihood too that that's the side of the house that they're going to be more of an issue on. You're going to see them more often because of that heat from the sun. They're searching that warm place actively. So, you know, they're going to be in those wall voids. They're going to be in that portion of the attic more so than others. That's not to say that you're not going to see them in any other portions of the house, because you will, but they're going to be on the sunny side because they like the warmth.
Yeah. And like I said, for this podcast, I'd say the takeaway is just, if you have this issue going on, just know that don't go up there and just try to foam every void in your attic. And like Travis said, you're going to cause a lot more issues than good. So,
hello, and thank you for listening to another edition of the Peskies Pest Control Podcast with your hosts, Travis and Michael. If you have any questions in reference to what we discussed today, give us a call at 334-595-9055, and you can ask for me, Travis McGowan. I'll be more than happy to speak with you. Make sure you share this podcast with your friends and family, and subscribe to us on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and any of the other major streaming platforms. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Google Peskies Pest Control Montgomery.